Hello there, right here, and we got a brand new snapshot. This is 1.17.1 pre-release 1. So what this means is that they're going to come out with 1.17.1, but before they do that, they're going to have a couple pre-releases to make sure these changes don't cause any major problems. Now with 1.17 kind of being rushed and a lot of the stuff being pushed to 1.18, I did guess that they would start working on the next 1.17 version about 2 weeks after the full release, and here it is. So in this one they did some game mechanic changes as well as fix a bunch of bugs. So let's take a look at everything that is new with these changes. So the first big one is that now they made the probability of getting copper from a drown almost twice as likely. So in the past, it was a 5% chance of dropping an ingot, and it was additional 1% for every extra level of looting that you had. So with looting 3, it was an 8% chance. But now this has been changed. So now every time they are killed, it's an 11% chance that they will drop it. And if you use looting, it's 2% for every level of looting. So looting 3 would add additional 6%. 6% and 11%. That means you can get up to 17% chance of getting a copper ingot every drown that you kill. So this is actually a big buff to using drown farms to obtain copper ingots. And here's my simple copper farm using a zombie spawner. And before this thing would average about 40 ingots per hour. But now it'll produce around 85 per hour. Now it's still pretty slow if you need a lot of copper. But this is definitely a nice, easy setup farm to get copper while you're AFKing. And because this farm can be either used with the player whacking them by putting in a wall and killing them like using an auto clicker, or even AFKing, either way looting is being applied. So you can get the highest chance of getting copper. I've also been updating my old drown farms for faster ways to get lots of copper. I think this change is actually really good because before it was just so difficult to get large amounts of it. And then they also changed it so that instead of taking just 4 copper to make a block, it was changed to use 9, which means you need even more just to make blocks. And it seems like there are so many cool blocks to do with copper, but it's so difficult to get it in large amounts. But now using a farm, I would say, is on par with mining up the actual copper ores with fortune. The next big change that they did is that you can no longer find the super rare Axolotl just by a naturally spawned in one. Now the super rare ones are these kind of blue and gold ones. There used to be a 1 in 1,200 chance that one of these guys would spawn into the game. And now they won't spawn in at all. The way you can get them is by actually breeding other axolotls together, and then there's that super rare 1 in 1,200 chance that they will have a baby, which is the rare one. This was to kind of put it on par with the Bedrock Edition. So if I just feed that one some fish, and let's feed this one some fish, they will breed up, and let's see. Ah, we got a little baby. So this one's a pink one. In Bedrock Edition, they don't have the rare ones spawning into the game. So instead, the only way to get it is by breeding, and they add this to the Job Edition to make it harder to get. Otherwise, you could just use like an Axolotl farm to get a bunch of them to spawn in and pick them up. And I was actually on stream designing this new farm, which is specifically designed to try to get the rare one before updating to the 1.17.1 version. So just like my Axolotl farm, but except we're going to try to move them up with bubble columns up to the player, or you can automatically have it be killed. Now you could use my Axolotl farm in a less automated way, just by building up the simple farm, and then going up to the AFK spot. And then in this farm, we will have glow squid as well as the axolotls. And from up here, they should be able to spawn in. And then if you turn your options for entity distance all the way up, you can stand up here with a telescope or spyglass. You can look all the way down there. And if you turn on hitboxes by doing F3 plus B, when they spawn in, you can actually see them. So you can see these guys floating around, and they're also attacking the glow squid. And they will despawn over time. The glow squid will also despawn. So it's kind of like a glow squid farm, but you can also just wait until you see the right type of axolotl that you're looking for. The super rare one, which is kind of purple and gold. And then you could just jump down there so it doesn't despawn, and then you could scoop them up with a bucket of water. So if you want to easily get the rare axolotl, make sure to do it before updating to 1.17.1. And I live stream every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Whenever there is a new snapshot, I do a special stream with the viewers. And we hop onto my snapshot testing server, which is always open. And you guys are able to join me as we play around with the latest features. And thanks to Bisect Hosting for making this possible. They host Minecraft servers so you can play with your friends in your world. And if you use the code RAY, or use the link in the description, you will get 25% off for your first entire month. And doing so will support me and allow me to continue to do amazing things in Minecraft. And thank you everyone who has used it so far. Now the next one also has to do with breeding, and it's to do with screaming goats. So there's a 2% chance that screaming goats can spawn into the game, but now they made it so that if you breed 2 goats, there's a chance that you could get a baby screaming goat from 2 normal goats. Now, I actually did design a goat farm, which is this thing right here. But because they decided not to add the goat horns until 1.18, goats currently really don't drop anything. They don't even drop mutton. So I didn't show this farm in with the other ones. But it could be used to get screaming goats. But now that they added the breeding in, you have other ways to get them. If you're wondering what's all good with the screaming goats, I did an entire video covering that, which I'll link down below. They did another big change, which is they doubled the speed in which cauldrons can fill up with snow layers. So 1.17, when it snows and you have an empty cauldron, it will slowly add layers to it. And powder snow is kind of useful, so it was kind of hard to get large amounts of it. But now that the speed is double, it is quite a bit faster. So when I tested this farm before, the ideal time to harvest was about every 1 hour worth of snowfall. But now that they have made it twice as fast, for the ideal harvest, it would be once every 30 minutes of snowfall, which still can take quite a while, especially if you're waiting for it to rain. And with servers that have like one sleep, they will end up sleeping, which also resets the weather downfall, so it won't rain for at least 10 minutes. So if someone keeps sleeping with the night, you'll never actually get any powder snow on your server. So keep that in mind if you're trying to farm this. The next change that they did is they have it so that zombie villager, husk, and drowns will no longer pick up glow ink. And this is because when you'd have like caves, these glow squids could spawn in them, and they spawn in some really small water sources, and then they oftentimes would kind of float their way out of it and end up on the ground and die, dropping the ink, which would then get picked up by like zombies. And when zombies pick up items, they're unable to despawn. And because of this, there was just a whole bunch of zombies sitting in caves holding items, which was creating lag, especially because they often tried to pathfind. And they used to be able to even be their own chunk loaders because they would try to pathfind to villagers, which would keep chunks loaded forever. So it's a good thing that they did this. I am kind of surprised they didn't also add normal squid ink, as I have seen in the past where normal squids will spawn underground and the zombies will pick up their items, and this will cause them not to despawn. Now this does mean that if you have a drown that is holding glow ink, it is considered a type of rare mob. Because in the future you won't be able to get this. If I go ahead and go into an old version, this is 1.17, and I was able to give a drowned a glow ink. If you want to get a rare mob, be sure to do this before updating to 1.17.1. This is very similar to like having the baby piglin, which is holding the leather item. Another thing they changed with goats is now potion effects will apply to them when they are jumping as well as when they are ramming. So let's see if we can see these guys doing some jumping or maybe some ramming. So we'll give them a jump. So if they jump, they're going to jump even higher yet. Whoa, that one jumped way up there. Let's give them some speed and let's watch them hit this armor stand. Wow, they actually hit it extremely fast. That looks so cool. Now besides these new features that were added, they also came in with quite a few bug fixes. Some of them do some pretty big changes for survival. So the first one was that players weren't able to see the sun if they turned the render distance too low. Now they also fixed a bug where withers were able to have any type of potion effects applied to them, besides the normal healing potions, which would always damage them because of undead mobs, and damaging potions, which actually heal them because that's how undead mobs work. So stuff like Turtle Master could work on them. It'd make them move extremely slow. You also could do invisibility, so you don't even see the wither. That'd make a pretty interesting fight. Poison doesn't seem to work on that. There's also weakness potions, which can make them weaker. And let's try to use the regen potions on them. So it lowers health down. If we give them regen, probably won't even notice it. I definitely think the funniest is the Turtle Master one, because he just can't hardly even move. Let's see if I go in survival. If I punch him. Oh yeah, I can't even punch him. I guess because I'm weak and he's strong. They fixed a bug that if you would have swords with a lot of enchantments, you put it into the anvil and it is named, it could actually roll over and become negative enchantments. This was due to the enchantments being saved as a short, but they're being loaded and functioning as an integer. They also did a couple different changes to do with text and font. So they fixed this bug where you could make ghost powder snow by pushing it with a piston and dispensing it at the same time. So if we power this, it ends up over there instantly. We pull it back and power it again. It looks like it breaks, and it also looks like it's over there, but it also appears that it's in here. And this is actually a ghost block right here. So if I update this by trying to place something there, it will instantly vanish. And we played around a lot with this during the snapshots. But since it is a ghost block, if you hop inside of it in survival, you don't actually freeze because it's not really there for the server. But walking through it actually does slow you down, which is kind of strange. So like the weird different ghost block generators that we showed during the snapshots no longer will work. They also fix a bug using the item command, which you could sometimes get ghost items in creative. They fix a bug to do with fossils. They were always spawning way down here at the bedrock level. You can see part of it right here. Previously they stopped them from breaking through the bedrock, but they didn't fix it so that they wouldn't spawn down here all the time, when they're supposed to spawn around Y level 40. Now in 1.18 we are going to get the fossils that can spawn down low, and the ones that spawn below Y level 0 actually produce diamonds inside them instead of coal. So now we should see them at their normal level. We got one here at around Y level 50. There's also another one right over here, about the same Y level, and there is another one right over here. There's also a problem that sometimes loaded chunks wouldn't render until the player would move their head slightly. The hanging root item was also quite large when you dropped it compared to other items. Now they made it the same size. There was also a problem that logs near lava pools were still being converted into stone in some cases, which they've now changed. World generation data packs were also causing crashes or soft locking of the game. They fixed a bug to do with when placing down heads with non-existent players would cause large amounts of lag on servers. They fixed this bug where if you place down a small drip leaf onto a seagrass, it would replace it but instantly break. There was a problem if you would have a ender pearl in a bubble column and you would log off of a server, the pearl would despawn. But normally it only despawns when the player dies. So with this fix, ender pearl stasis chambers like this should work once again. This bug was also causing pearls to vanish when the players would leave the end dimension. They also fixed some different crashes and minor things in the snapshot. So it's really looking like that 1.17.1 is going to have some pretty interesting features like with the copper and the axolotls and the powder snow. I'm sure people will update to it once it comes out. It'll be interesting to see how many other pre-releases they have before a new version comes out and what other changes they add into those. Let me know what you guys think about these changes down in the comments, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!